Hello everyone, this is Phoenix here, and today this is going to be a sort of a new series I'm going to be doing, where basically I'm going to talk about all the memories of the classic video games I've been having for a long time. And the first one we're going to start off with is going to be the Super Nintendo, since that is actually the first console I ever owned. And I'll be talking about all the great memories of games that I still have from today, or games that I've rented, or games that maybe I've had before, but I have no idea what the fuck happened to them. Either way, we're going to go over some of them, and I think this is going to be a little fun little series thing that would be fun to go over with, since, well, you know, I just love discussing about video games of any kind. Good ones, bad ones, or even okay ones. Either way, I'm all up for it. So, let's get started. Alright, so here's my Super Nintendo, which is actually the original one that I still have from way back then. Yeah, it's a little bit yellow at the bottom, but you know what, that happens, so oh well. But yes, I don't really think I need to make a big introductory about the Super Nintendo. Well, you know, I think a lot of people know about the background information about it, so you know what, let's go on with the games already. Now the first one we're going to mention is probably going to be the most obvious one, but it's going to be the Mario games. And here are the ones that I have, like Super Mario All-Stars, Mario Kart, Mario Paint, Super Mario World, and Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island. Now I do own a copy of Super Mario RPG, but I'm not going to mention it since, well, I never really grew up playing it. Well, I think it's obvious for one thing, is that if you grew up playing a Super Nintendo, then obviously you probably must have played a Mario game. If you didn't, well, I have no idea what the fuck to tell you. But yeah, Super Mario All-Stars is basically our first version of an HD collection, or what you can consider as an HD collection, and it was the game that came free with the Super Nintendo, I believe. So you really can't go wrong with getting like 3 classic Super Mario games with it. Also, you get a bonus version of Super Mario Lost Levels, which was never released here in North America. And what can I say about Mario Kart? Well, Mario Kart, this is actually the very first racing Mario-related game, so that's pretty cool. And it actually still works very well, I find. At least I still think it's really fun. Although I am kind of sad at the fact that I can't play Mario Paint anymore because my mouse broke, and I can't find a new one anywhere, which kind of sucks. But yeah, I do remember this was a game I remember used to having a really fun time with like painting random ass pictures, and then also with the music there and the stamp creator, whatever. Also, how could I forget the fly swatter thing? That thing was fucking fun. And well, do I really need to say more about like Super Mario World 1 and 2? Well, not really, other than the fact that they're both kick-ass games. Now, the second game we're going to mention is Donkey Kong Country 1 through 3. Now, I mostly grew up playing 1 and 2, and 3 I like mostly rented at the time, but I still play it a lot though. Now, I did also happen to do a review of all these 3 games, which you can go check out on my channel, but so I'll keep this one short and just say that you really can't go wrong with the 3 original Donkey Kong Country games. They're all so fucking fun, and amazing music, and amazing graphics, and all that type of good stuff. So, do I need to say more? I didn't think so. But, however, I will mention this now, is that I will try and get the new Donkey Kong Country that did come out, the one for Wii U, but I hear it's great. Also, one funny thing I will mention just before I end this is that every time I'm playing this game while doing recording and I only need a little bit of game footage, I always have a lot more game footage than I normally should, because this game is just so fun you don't want to put the controller down. Anyways, I don't know if any of you guys have that problem, but I know I do with this game, so I don't know, let's just move on. Now, the third game we're going to look into is Mortal Kombat! Yeah! Okay, I know that sounded really fucking stupid, but come on, it's Mortal Kombat, what can you say? Now, I don't have the original one anymore, because I have no idea what the hell happened to it, but I still have Mortal Kombat 3, which is cool. But yes, Mortal Kombat is actually a very fun Super Nintendo game I found, even though I know it's not as good as the Genesis version apparently, but oh well, this is what I grew up with, right? So, now I wasn't that good at this game at playing it as a kid, but I did manage to get to Goro at one point, and fuck, that was fucking hard. And I also did happen to get to Shang Tsung, and well, I've never actually beat the game before, but that was the farthest I ever gone, and I have to say, I'm just proud of the fact that I did beat Goro, because I was stuck at him for so fucking long. And now, I'm just fucking terrible at it now. I used to be able to be really good at this game, but now I'm not that great. But either way, Mortal Kombat is still a great fighting game on the Super Nintendo that will forever be remembered. And the fourth game we're going to take a look at is Link to the Past. Now, what can I say about Link to the Past? This game is like probably one of my favorite Zelda games of all time so far. And one very famous memory of mine, for me personally, is that I remember like years and years ago during the summer when we'd always used to play this game. Here was our schedule. We used to go swimming, and then after going swimming, we used to come back and play Zelda and eat and all that type of good stuff. Like me with my sister and like all my other friends and whatnot.
yeah, that was such an amazing time. And we got so far through the game, we eventually got to the Turtle Castle, which then after that, when we got to the Turtle Castle, the game got erased by someone, I have no idea who, which by the way, that still makes me mad to this day. But thankfully, I did eventually beat the game. But still, just the fact that we got all the way with our progress to get to the Turtle Castle in the Dark World, ugh. Man, that was such a buzzkill at the time. But yeah, just going through this game was just an amazing adventure I found. So yeah, that is why this one is probably one of my favorite Zelda games, since this is the one that I grew up with the most and having the most adventure with. And yes, I still love Ocarina of Time just as much. Now the fifth game we're going to be talking about is Maximum Carnage on the Super Nintendo. And yes, I love that bright red cartridge, and I think that looks really fucking badass. And the only other game I know that has a bright red cartridge like that is Doom on the Super Nintendo. And yes, I am well aware that LJN did make this game, and, well, this happens to be probably their best game personally. And I will throw out the joke, just for all you guys, the game is not shit! But seriously though, that line from that video really did make me fucking laugh though. Considering the fact I could actually relate to that video, since it was actually worth a rental, since I used to rent this game all the time. Yeah, unfortunately I never owned Maximum Carnage, but I always wanted to though ever since I rented it. Because this game was really addicting, really fun, but very frustrating at times, but it was actually still a great game. And also at that time I was kind of like a Spider-Man fanatic, so yeah, you know, I couldn't go wrong with it. So yeah, on to the next one. Alright, and now we're going to take a look at probably one of the most random games I will mention in this entire video, and it happens to be the Winter Olympic Games 94. Now you're probably wondering, why the hell would you mention like a generic sport game like this? Well, for one, when I first got this game, this was actually a gift from my neighbor when they moved in, and they just randomly gave it to me, so you know, that's kind of like a memorable thing like that. And not only that, but also, the one thing that is very memorable with this game is probably the music, as you can tell from the background. Yeah, I always found the music in this game to be really catchy and pretty awesome sounding. But I think for what it is, I think the game does hold up okay. I mean, of course it's not like anything like super memorable, but I mean, at least the game is still like playable, and it is kind of like weird, I don't know, I really have to like sit down and play it for a good while, and maybe I might have to do a review on it at some point, but either way, this game will always be remembered from my childhood though. And now we're going to take a look at Shadowrun. Ooh, now this is a really dark game. In fact, this was a game I rented at the store because I thought the cover looked kind of cool. Okay, I know it looks kind of lame now, but I mean seriously though, back then I thought that looked kind of cool. But yes, this is actually a pretty interesting but very hard game to understand when I was younger, but it is actually a really cool looking game. And I also heard that this game tends to be overlooked compared to the Genesis version, since both versions were very different. And I also do have the Genesis version, and well, I think both games are actually really good in their own ways. I mean, sure, you can't compare them with saying which one is better or not, but I really do like both of them though. But one thing I always remembered with this game was like the creepy music, and then you also have like all like the really like weird looking people and whatnot, so I thought like this game was kind of like creepy-ish, but not really. But it was also very hard too, so I do remember this game was like really hard, and I got like my ass kicked all the time. Now I'm sure if I were to play this like nowadays for like a good time, I think I would be able to actually understand it more. When you're a kid and you try playing like either like a really complicated game like this or an RPG or whatever, you used to just skip everything and then you die like right after. Yeah, well, I had that problem too, don't worry, you guys were not the only ones out there. But yeah, I found this going to be pretty memorable. And the next one I'm going to take a look at is Toy Story. Now, I think it's pretty obvious that like any kid would rent this game because, well, let's face it, this movie was fucking awesome as a kid. Hell, I even still enjoy it to this day, but then again, I'm just such a fucking child there because, you know, apparently I don't want to fucking grow up. But you get the idea. The movie is still very enjoyable, and this game's actually not too bad, actually. Even though there were some parts where I had no idea where the fuck to go when I was a kid, but eventually I did figure it out though. But yes, I did really enjoy this game, and I really wanted to like it because of the fact I loved the movie a lot, so yeah, this was basically a really big thing for me when I was a kid. And I did get pretty far through the game, although I can't remember where I got to, but I do remember I did get pretty far, and I was actually pretty excited though, because this game did happen to follow the movie quite well, I found. But the one parts I always hated as a kid were the driving parts where you had to use RZ. Ugh, man, that used to annoy the hell out of me. But I still managed to get by it though as a kid, surprisingly. I don't know if I'd be able to do it nowadays, but I don't know, maybe I'd have to pick up this game eventually. And the next game we're going to take a look at is Stunt Race FX, which also happens to use the FX chip, which I probably wonder where they got the name from. But yes, this was another game I used to rent back then, and the main reason why I wanted to rent it was because I thought the cover looked kind of funny with, like, you know, with the cars with the big googly eyes. I don't know, that used to make me laugh when I was a kid, so this is really the reason why I wanted to rent it. I know, kind of stupid, eh? But yes, this racing game was actually pretty fun and pretty amusing, and it also looked really nice too, especially for Super Nintendo standards, since it does use the FX chip. I remember one thing as a kid when playing this game was I used to find that the music that's playing in the background right now, which is for that like desert, like mountain area, whatever you want to call it, I used to think that music was actually kind of creepy as a kid, or at least it didn't suit the theme anyways. Now it is unfortunate that I only rented this game once and I really liked it, and then ever since then I kind of forgot about the game. Yeah, but I'll shit you not, when I was trying to like look up games that I was trying to remember as a kid, it took me a while to figure out what the hell this game's name was. But hopefully I might be able to pick this game up since this game was really enjoyable. Alright, let's take it one more game. Yeah, I'm only going to look at like 10 games or 10 series at a time when I do these videos. And this game is Street Fighter 2. Just a regular ass, normal, no super, no turbo, no like any of that other type of bullcrap. Just regular plain ass everyday Street Fighter 2. But yeah, Street Fighter 2 is actually a very fun fighting game. It also is a lot like Mortal Kombat in a way, but of course, I was actually a lot worse at Street Fighter than I was at Mortal Kombat, surprisingly. Now, I know they're not exactly, but you get the idea, like they're both 2D fighting games. But yes, I used to play this game a lot with my friends and relatives all the time. I thought this game was like really fun. And I also used to rent this game a couple of times too, so you know, can't go wrong with that really. And one really funny thing that you'll probably laugh at me about is the fact that this was actually the first game where I developed my first waifu, or video game crush, or whatever the hell you want to call it, because, you know, I'm just such a freak about that. Yeah, believe it or not, I used to really love Chun-Li. Oh my god, that's fucking funny. I know, you guys are probably laughing your asses off at me just for liking that, but seriously though, that was just something that I will probably remember for that, and just for me that I just think I'm just fucking insane over. And another thing I'll always remember with this game is Ryu's stage, where you see in the background, it kind of looks like two, like, cannon things or whatever. Yeah, I don't know why, I always used to remember that very well for some reason. I never used to call it Ryu's stage, I used to call it the stage with the bazookas in the background. So yeah, Street Fighter 2 is going to be the last game I'll mention, and it's actually a very good one to lastly mention.
Alright, so I think we took enough Super Nintendo games for today, ones that I grew up playing with, and yeah, hopefully you might have actually had the same type of memories as I did with some of these, maybe not, who knows, but maybe you guys can share some of your thoughts on some of these. And also, I know you probably may have noticed that there's a lot of classic games that I didn't mention, like, so there's these examples right here, such as, like, Star Fox on the Super Nintendo, then there's, like, Killer Instinct, the first one, and then there's F-Zero, which I didn't mention these because, well, believe it or not, I never really grew up playing these because, well, back then, we weren't the richest type of people, so, you know, obviously we weren't able to afford every type of game out there, but those are the ones that I mainly grew up playing with, and I'd say that's quite a good amount that I've, like, grew up playing with for at the time, so, yeah. Wish I could mention these, but hey, these are all great fucking awesome games, so either way, we all gotta play them at least sometime or another. But anyways, I hope that this video turned out very well, because, you know, this was actually kind of very interesting video just to touch base on. So yeah, hopefully I might do more of these videos with other game systems, and well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching and commenting.